Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
The Courtside Soundoff podcast. I'm Josh Sevenoff. He's Angel Ortega. Episode 25, I believe. Not the biggest week in terms of news. We still got to recap UFC card. We're going to talk about the UFC card next week and give a brief explanation as to why we're doing that. NBA news, a little bit of boxing stuff today. Before I get into that, I want to talk about Amazon. Amazon Target sponsors today. Amazon's the number one online store today. It has been for years. It doesn't matter when games, books, movies, it's all Amazon.com. By the link on our podcast page or the YouTube page, it helps support the podcast. If you're looking to support us, if you get something you want, buy the link. It helps us, and you can help yourself as well. All right, last week was a really big week for the UFC, as we all know. Me and Angel went 0 for 3 in our predictions on arguably the biggest card of the year. I say arguably because, you can debate, 239, you can debate 235. Regardless, this was arguably, and this is in my opinion, the greatest card of the year so far. The top 3 fights, which we all expected to be amazing, were all amazing. Some amazing returns, some amazing knockouts. Let's just start with Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero. We were both wrong on this one. A lot of people thought Romero won this fight. I'd say, in fact, it's pretty split. I saw MMADecisions.com, which is a great site, by the way. They kind of get like a compilation of fan results, what fans thought, and what media members thought, and it's split right down the middle. I thought Paulo Costa won this fight. He officially won the fight via unanimous decision, 29-28. I feel like round 1 is kind of all in agreement for Paulo Costa. Round 3 is all in agreement for Yoel Romero. It really comes down to that second round. I thought that second round was Paulo Costa's. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm a giant Yoel Romero fan. I love Yoel, but I thought Paulo Costa won that fight. Angel, how did you score the fight? Because I know you saw your boy out there.
I thought it was the same thing. I thought round 1 went to Paulo, round 2 went to Paulo, and then round 3 went to Yoel. I mean, I even said, at the end, I'm like, Paulo's about to win. I even told the person I was watching the fight with, I was like, there's a world where Yoel wins this, but I don't think that's this world. And,
yeah. I think I texted you because we were both kind of expecting Yoel in that third round to possibly get finished, and he got pretty close. He was throwing everything in the kitchen sink.
But it went both ways, though. It went both ways throughout the fight, you know what I mean? It did. Yoel was being weird, sticking his tongue out, as usual.
He was acting weirder than normal, though. He was acting real freaky out there, dude.
He's a freak to begin with.
He really, okay, so Yoel does some really weird stuff during his fights, but he was sticking his tongue out. I saw Paulo Costa talk about this on Ariel Helwani's show. I guess, at one point, okay, so whenever Paulo goes out and rocks Yoel in, the first minute of the fight, I guess Yoel stands up and he points to the side of the cage, and Paulo looks over there, and that's when he hits him with a right hook and drops Paulo. And he's like, yeah, that was dirty. I'm like, that's not dirty. That's just hilarious. He literally hit you with the look over there, and then he knocked him down. Yoel was really weird Saturday. It was really, really weird. But like I said, I thought Paulo won. You did as well. I know he was kind of a big underdog going in because he really hadn't faced anybody of note. He faced a very past his prime Johnny Hendricks and a Uriah Hall, who's really been up and down his entire career. And he also nearly got finished by Hall. He got dropped, and similar thing here. He got dropped, but he persevered. He took the first and second round on my scorecard, and he ended up getting a unanimous decision victory. Yeah, all the judges. Co-main event, a lot more clear of a winner here. Anthony Pettis came out. I thought he had a great first round. I saw a lot of people basically, I was the only person besides one judge who gave that first round to Anthony Pettis, which I thought was strange. I thought Pettis looked great on the feet for the first 3.5 minutes of that fight. I thought he was throwing fire with his right hand. He tagged Diaz a couple times. He was landing that low kick. The final minute was all Diaz. He took the back, and he looked for the choke, but even then, Anthony Pettis wasn't going to get stopped via submission. He never has, and I don't think it ever will happen. But still, a lot of people gave that round to Diaz. I thought that round was Pettis. Pettis goes out. He throws a leg kick in the opening seconds of round 2, And this apparently broke his foot because Diaz checked it. And from there, it was all Nate Diaz. Because, like, listen, man, I think everybody kind of knew that, like, that first round is going to be Pettis, that second round is, like, up for debate, and that third round is going to be all Diaz. What really kind of led to the onslaught was that broken foot. Because, Nate Diaz is going to pour on the pressure no matter what. He's a cardio machine. He never gets tired. The thing is, though, whenever your movement is compromised and you can't jump off that right foot and you can't throw kicks anymore, which are a big part of Anthony Pettis' game, you're taking all of that away with a broken foot. That's all gone. So now your movement is compromised and you're having a guy who's much bigger than you breathing down your neck, marching you down, and throwing strikes at a ridiculous pace. So based on what I'm saying, you kind of figure Anthony Pettis got melted on those last two rounds and nearly got finished in the third. I thought it was a great fight for Nate Diaz. I thought he looked phenomenal. I was really kind of surprised at how good he looked because, like I said, he hasn't fought in 3 years. It's been a long time since Nate Diaz fought. Like I said, last time was 3 years ago, the Conor fights. But, it takes 3 years off, comes in and faces Anthony Pettis, who arguably was like a top 5 guy at welterweight. And he should have been a top 5 guy. I think he was ranked 6 or something. He should have been top 5. He knocked out Wonder Boy, who I believe is 2 or 3 at the time. Top 10 guy at lightweight. He's been actively competing. Just coming off an amazing win over, Wonder Boy, wins over Chiesa. And he goes out there and dominates. And like I said, that checked kick was a really, really big part of the whole story and the turn of the fight. Angel, what did you think about Nate Diaz's successful return at UFC 241?
First of all, congrats to Nate. It was fun. I'm sad about. I wouldn't say I'm sad. The fight didn't go as I thought it would, but obviously, like you said, there was reasons that led to that point, and I'm fine with it. Obviously, there's nothing I can do about that. That's how MMA goes sometimes. So I have no problem with the outcome. It's no robberies here. No. It was one fair and square. I felt like the fight was a little bit more entertaining for me at the end when it got to the ground. I felt like Pettis looked better there. It looked like some crazy shit was about to happen at some moments, but nothing came of it. Nate obviously defended well when he got to that point. I mean, it was just too late at that point. There was nothing you could do. I mean, the fight was already set in. I mean, I wouldn't say it was set in stone, but for the most part, the outcome was secured for Nate. And I mean, I don't know. I hope Pettis doesn't. I hope he gets another really good fight. His last two fights have been pretty good. Just certain things just happened that led, to where we're at now, and I have no issue with it. Hopefully Nate fights again. He threw a name out there, a very fun name. So maybe Dana can make that happen. And if not, I mean, we have Conor, right? Fighting old men.
I didn't mention it, but the name he threw out there was Jorge Masvidal. Jorge was in talks for a title shot against Kamaru Usman. Looks like it's going to go to Colby Covington now. And Nate called out Jorge. Jorge was smiling. He looked happy as hell that Nate called him out. And that seems like that's a fight to make. They said they both won it. This is a very much no-brainer decision. That would be an awesome fight, a banger fight. If it's not it needs to be a main event. I want to see that fight for 5 rounds. That would be a ridiculous fight. Jorge's coming off 2 amazing knockout victories. Nate just returned from the rivalries with Conor, a nice win over Pettis. I don't know where Pettis goes from here, but I know where Nate goes from here, and it needs to be a fight with Jorge Masvidal in a main event. But I guess that kind of wraps up the Nate talk, because I feel like everybody's talked enough about Nate, over the past couple of weeks. He was the main star of that whole show. But in the main event, Daniel Cormier loses to Stipe Miocic, loses his heavyweight crown. I was such a big proponent of the DC Brock fight. That fight fell through. Stipe got the shot. And I gotta say, I overlooked Stipe. But also, I've gotta I see a lot of people calling him he's the greatest heavyweight of all time now. He's done this, he's done that. And I'm like, listen, man, DC won. This fight went about 19 minutes. DC won about 18 of those minutes. and the first round was arguably a 10-8. I don't want to make excuses, and I'm not saying that, like, you know, DC lost the fight in his own, you know, whatever. That'd be stupid. Stipe had a great performance. He found his body, it's like he found a new move. Like, you ever, like, you're playing, like, a fighting game and you find, like, a new move that's, like, badass or something? That's what Stipe found in the fourth round, because he just kept on throwing the left hook to the body. And he landed like 6 of them, and then he went upstairs and landed the right hand that rocked Daniel and dropped him, and then he followed up with some ground and pound. I would love to see the trilogy. I think that's the only, like, fight. Like, if DC wants to come back, it needs to be the trilogy. If DC's coming back, it needs to be the trilogy fight. That's all I want to see. I love Francis Ngannou, and I think he beats Stipe again. I think if they run that fight back, I think he beats Stipe, but I want to see the trilogy. I think that, like, and also, I think the trilogy does happen. I think DC's way too much of a proud guy. I think he has too much of a proud team around him to let him go out in a fight, like, to go out like that, you know, in a fight that he was winning very dominantly, took all 3 rounds of the judges' scorecards. I think he's way too prideful of a guy to let it go out like that. And I think we're going to see him back, and I think the trilogy is the right move. But it was an awesome fight too. Like those rounds, like the first 3 rounds were all really, really fun to watch. 4th round was great comeback by Stipe. Angel, what were your thoughts on the main event, and just kind of your reaction?
I thought it was secured. I'm like, all right, there's a minute left. We got this. And then the fucking body shot came in, dude. At first, like, when you watch the fight, like, kind of all go down really quick, I didn't notice, like, how fatal that body shot was, but when they replayed it in the highlight, and that kicked off that whole series of constant hits that just led to the man DC just falling on the ground and kneeling in front of the firemen in shame. It was just insane, because I didn't think that, like, he got hit to the body, I was like, oh, alright, got hit to the body, he's fine. But it wasn't like in the moment, it didn't seem like anything crazy, but then when I saw him react to it, I was like, oh shit, okay. And it just kept piling on and on and on. And then when they replayed it and they saw how mortal that shot was, I was like, alright, I get it now. And it was insane. He found that he opened up just enough to leave that whole area uncovered. And then obviously, you know, Stipe being so damn long, he has a fair bit of distance between him and DC, and just landed the shot, and it kind of just spiraled on from there. But overall, I mean, I thought it was like, all right, DC's got this 5 rounds. Okay, we'll see. You see how long this is gonna go, and it went on and on and on, and I was like, all right, well, it's a boring outcome, but it's entertaining to watch. And then, like I said, just out of nowhere, it happened, and I was surprised. I really was surprised, because I thought at that point it was set in stone, nothing can change it. And then stuff happened, man. And I mean, we'll see what happens in the heavyweight division. I was talking to someone about that. I'm like, what's really next, though? I was like, you know, the only person I see like fighting who isn't DC here soon enough is Ngannou. So, I mean, you already talked a bit about that. I don't want to, you know, bring that up again. But I said the trilogy, man. I want the trilogy fight just as much as you do. I think, you know, he won one. So it's only fair to run it back one more time and see who does the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think that's what needs to happen. That's the fight that I want. I think that's the fight that, you know, the UFC will try to make. I know Dana White said that he doesn't want to see DC retire, and he said that he would make the rematch if it came back. That's the fight I want to see. Yeah, but I think we've talked a bit about UFC 241. There wasn't a whole lot of other notable stuff. I want to give a quick shout out though. Kama Worthy. Kama Worthy was this plus 1,000 underdog. He's this guy who was like, I want to say he was 15-7 going into this fight. He's been knocked out in all 7 of his losses on the amateur scene. He took the fight on 4 days' notice against Devontae Smith at lightweight. And Devontae Smith is a great prospect at lightweight. I'm pretty sure he came off Dana White's Contender Series. I know he was like 10-1 or something like that. All knockout wins. Kid looked great. Kama Worthy went out and knocked him out in the first round. One of the biggest upsets of the year. A couple other wins. Derek Brunson beat Ian Heinisch. I was completely on the Ian Heinisch train. I looked like a complete idiot for that one too. Corey Sandhagen is the real deal bantamweight. Beat Rafael Sunsao. If you beat Rafael Sunsao, you're basically top 3 in the division. He beat John Lineker before that. Dude is legit. But that's pretty much all there is to talk about coming out of UFC 241. Pretty sure we covered all the big bases. But we are going to preview next week's UFC card. Normally we don't do this. This is something that we never really do. We'll never talk about a card like a full week before it happens. However, these are special circumstances. UFC Shenzhen, taking place in, Shenzhen, China. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. Anyways, so the card is taking place at like 5:30 our time. And, so in case you guys know, we record this on Saturdays. We upload it promptly, somewhere around like, 10:30, probably start recording, something like that. And then we'll upload it. See, the thing is that we don't have time to preview it because it's going to be done by that point.
We're going to be asleep, actually.
We're going to be asleep. I might not be asleep. I might wake up early, brew myself some coffee, make some nice breakfast, and then watch only the main event because I'm not waking up at 5:30 on my day off. However, there's a couple of fights on this card I think are kind of cool. Elizu Zaleski dos Santos is a great welterweight. Li Zhenglang is an awesome Chinese fighter. Very, very underrated guy, welterweight. Great knockout power. All-around great fighter. I love the Leech. He's always very entertaining. That's going to be a great fight. Derek Krantz fighting on this card. Very interesting guy. A couple flyweights. Kai Kara France, Mark De La Rosa, both good prospects. That's about all there is to talk about that. But, however, in the main event is by far the biggest fight of the card. Jessica Andrade making the first defense of her women's strawweight title. She beat Rose in knockout win a couple months ago in May in Brazil. And it was a fight that she was losing very, very badly, getting dominated, got dropped near the finish of the first round. Had a big comeback, knocked her out with a slam, and I believe that's only the second knockout slam for a championship win in like UFC history. I think the first was Matt Hughes over Carlos Newton, but don't quote me on that. It was an awesome knockout win. Taking on the unknown Willie Zhang. Willie Zhang is the 6th ranked strawweight in the world, I believe, something along those lines. 3-0 in the UFC. Danielle Taylor, Jessica Aguilar, Tisha Torres, all pretty okay fighters, but not top tier. Torres has fallen off. Danielle Taylor was never really in the top 15, and Jessica Aguilar is sort of a similar story. I believe actually 2 of those 3 might be gone from the UFC right now. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I think Jessica Aguilar and Danielle Taylor have been cut from the UFC, and Tisha Torres is on a 4-fight losing streak. So going into this fight, you might think that she's severely overmatched and her competition is garbage. She's still 19-1. I still think she is a great prospect. When her first fight in the UFC, I thought she was a great prospect. However, I think this is far too much, far too soon. I think Jessica Andrade is going to run through this poor girl. Willie Zhang is very, very, very young. Very young into her career. 19-1, not very experienced. I think that Jessica Andrade is going to win via knockout. That's my official prediction. And I know that you probably don't know who Willie Zhang is.
I heard, I was talking to someone, wasn't she brought in from somewhere to, like, become this, though? Or that was the whole plan, or maybe unintentionally planned to do?
Well, I mean, she's getting this title shot because she's Chinese.
Well, yeah, on top of that. But what I'm saying is they had intentions of her getting to this point, her fighting pretty frequently within the last, a little bit less than 2 years now. Probably a year now, almost.
I mean, probably. I don't know anything about that, though. I know that she was probably brought in to be, like, the face of their Chinese division, and that's why she's getting a title shot so soon.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know too much. I don't want to give a terrible prediction. Not to say I haven't in the past, but I mean, I'll go with what you're saying, just kind of off some logic, which I always appreciate. So yeah, I probably think the same thing. I saw the Rose fight. Couple little weaknesses there, but then she picked her up and slammed her, which I mean was unexpected for me. I thought Rose looked great, and then that happened. But that was the last fight. Now we're here, so stuff has changed. And also, I mean, respect to the people in China, man, but I can't see this card. I mean, I can, but I'm not trying to wake up that early. I guess I'll try to watch the main event so I can recap that with you on Saturday whenever we record that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the reason why we're talking about this so early. This is going to be a great fight. I won't be around to see it, though. So, there's also, the next week after this fight, also going to be at a weird time. That's the Abu Dhabi card with Khabib and Poirier. You think that'd be like a really giant fight they'd put at prime time? No, they're going by Abu Dhabi time, which means the card will air at like 1 p.m. Eastern. Which isn't too bad. Like, it'll be an afternoon card, but still very strange time for a UFC card.
Ever since they started doing a fight like every weekend.
There's been some weird stuff. Which that card is actually pretty low-key stacked, but we'll obviously have to talk about that also next week, because the time is messed up. I just realized that. We'll be doing this 2 weeks in fucking row, so whatever. I don't have a problem with it, but it's a little bit strange.
It is what it is.
It is, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Because the prelims will be started by the time we'll be recording. So, okay, whatever. But that does kind of wrap up UFC talk for this week. There's no real stories. That's all that Connor went on Ariel Helwani's show for the first time in forever, and pretty much did a big PR campaign, and I'm not going to talk about that. But we do have NBA news. Angel, whenever you think of Lakers' all-time great centers, doesn't the first person that comes to your mind Dwight Howard? Yes or no?
Sometimes.
Incorrect answer. The answer is yes. When I think of all-time great centers in, Lakers history, I think of Dwight the GOAT Howard. Future Hall of Famer. That part is not a joke. Okay, I will argue to the death that Dwight Howard is a future Hall of Famer. But regardless, he is reuniting with the Los Angeles Lakers. We've heard this drama all week, and a lot of people thought it was really, really funny, myself included. Because if you remember what happened whenever he went to the Lakers, he was coming off playing with the Magic. He was the best center in the league by a wide margin, okay? And he was injured when he signed with the Lakers. Actually, he got traded there. It was like a 4-team trade or something along those lines. And he went to the Lakers, right? And it was a giant deal. They were like, this is the most stacked team of all time. They had Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol, Dwight Howard, Metta World Peace. They had so many great pieces. And then they got bounced in the first round after Kobe got injured. And Dwight played injured, and it was a whole thing because Kobe called him soft, and ever since then, he's bounced around the league. He had a long stint with the Rockets, but outside of that, it's been 1-year deals. And, he was a part of Memphis, and he got traded there from the Wizards, I believe. There's going to be a buyout, and he's going to return home to Los Angeles Lakers. One of the biggest failed experiments in NBA history is having a second go-around. There was talk about them signing Joakim Noah, and I believe Gortat was also in that discussion. Andrew, do you think they went with the right decision? Do you think signing Dwight the GOAT Howard is the right decision here?
I personally would have wanted Joakim, just because I know defensively he's always going to be there and be a presence. Also, just very recently, he's looked really good. He's been going to a lot of these open gyms with other NBA players where they go and do that kind of pickup games. And he was at the one with Booker. I remember seeing him in that video. He was the one who actually said the pickup thing of there's something about. The thing is,
there's no double teams in open gym.
Yeah,
there are.
Yeah, and then he said he made that comment. So I mean, he's been pretty active in his. Now that he's kind of made his return, I guess. So I would like to see him instead, just because of that, just because he's been clearly been putting in that effort to try to get back to maybe what was his former defensive player self before the whole series of events that happened throughout his career. So I personally would have liked to see that. Not to say Dwight isn't a bad option, but just even he's had his moments. It's just the injury. It's still he has he's been not the healthiest as of recently, and even he was a lot healthier within the last couple of years, but then the whole butt injury happened unexpectedly. Gortat wouldn't have been bad. I think that would have been probably like a safe like center to go with. Even if they didn't get any of those guys, he would have provided what they needed. He would kind of just been there, kind of just as a body. So it would have been fine. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad option. I personally I think Joakim probably would have been better, in my opinion, just because there would have been less fear of certain. I mean, I guess Joakim has had his fair share of injuries too, but I just thought that would have been a lot better option for the team and the state of the team it is in now. Because if anything happened to JaVale, at least I'd be confident to say we have Joakim as backup. Which is weird to say that we have Joakim Noah as backup, because in recent years that's probably not a great thing to say, but now it's probably not that bad of a thing to say.
Yeah, Joakim, he was pretty much inactive all of 2017, 2018. And then late last year he signed with Memphis, and he looked pretty damn good. He put up actually I'm looking at the numbers right now. He put up 7, 6, and 2, which honestly that doesn't look that impressive, but in 15 minutes a game, that's not that bad at all. Especially considering he hadn't played the full year, very, very rusty. He looked, and that's not even including the fact that he's more of a defensive guy anyways. He looked pretty good out there, very, very impressive numbers. And I heard from Memphis fan that he looked pretty damn impressive. He looked very, very good on the defensive side of the ball. He had some speed and quickness. For comparison, Dwight's last full season was 16, 13, and 1. So Dwight's still a very productive member. And last year he only played 9 games for Washington because he got injured, so I'm not even really counting it. But I personally would have picked Howard, but I also see why a lot of people didn't want him because of his previous history with the Lakers and his injury and just other stuff like that. I completely understand why they wouldn't want him. And I can understand the point of wanting Joakim Noah. I never got the Marcin Gortat talk. I never got that one at all. That dude's, if you've heard stuff about him in the locker room and just how he hasn't been playing that well, to begin with, recently, I never got that talk. But I'm fine with the Howard signing. I would have been fine with the Noah signing. I also would have thought the Noah signing would have been really, really funny given the beef with him and LeBron. I thought that would have been hilarious, but I guess it was just not meant to be. We got the Lance Stevenson meme team last year with LeBron. I guess this year we're not going to get the Joakim Noah meme team. Although they still could sign both, because I believe that they had that open roster spot before Cousins, and I guess if Cousins they waive him with an injury settlement, I guess that means they could still sign him. And so then again, I don't think they want 3 centers, but never mind. I'm just talking about nothing at this point, but regardless, I'm happy.
You're saying Dwight can't play power forward?
You know what? I really don't think it'd be a good decision.
No.
I'm going bold here. I don't think it'd be a good decision.
Dude, that lineup is big when everybody's on the court. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dude, that lineup is gonna be big. I actually played 2K earlier today with LeBron at point guard, which that seems to be the move that people are thinking that they're gonna do. That would be oh man, they're gonna be a really big team.
Paint's gonna be crowded 100%.
I do have a question though. Who do you think starts at center this year for the Lakers? Because now they have Dwight, they have McGee, and then obviously there's the Davis talk.
Davis is never gonna play center. Davis is gonna play power forward.
I know, but he has played center before. He just prefers to play at the 4.
They'll probably put him at the 4. I think starting center would probably be JaVale.
All right.
Yeah.
Personally, I would also start JaVale, but I selfishly just want to see
Dwight start.
I do. I think it'd be really funny.
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think they'll probably split minutes there just because they're both not young, but at the same time, JaVale doesn't seem to, at least I don't feel like he dies stamina wise. So I don't think they'll do that. But I don't think it'd be a bad idea to split the minutes. I think maybe at the start they'll try to see how it works, kind of see their dynamic, figure out how crowded the paint is with, when they have, Braun, Davis, and, their center out there. And then whoever they decide to put it forward, who's still going to be probably big, small forward. Like I said, they'll probably experiment with that. We'll definitely see a mixed match of, lineups because I don't think they're 100% set on what they want yet when it comes to that. So we'll definitely see a couple, throughout the year, different iterations of the team in ways they play, and just a bunch of style of play things throughout the year.
Yeah, I kind of expect JaVale and Dwight to split minutes, something along those lines. JaVale was actually really productive. Like, I know he's kind of like a meme, or at least he used to be a meme. But he was actually really, really productive last year for the Lakers. Something like 12 points a game, 7.5 rebounds. Pretty productive guy. Started 62 games. So I expect him to get the ball.
Almost 3. He averaged like almost 2 or 3 blocks, right?
Yeah, he was really good last year.
Yeah, he had a really good year.
Like, I remember, like, I think the last game of the season he put, like, 30 points or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Complete insanity.
Yeah, I fully expect JaVale to get the bulk of the minutes, especially at the start of the season. I think as time goes on, though, if we see Dwight, like, I saw Dwight dropped, like, 25 pounds training. Like, I guess he's trying to get more lean. If Dwight comes in faster and like, looking good, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, like, take the starting role at all.
We will see. I don't know. I'm excited, though. I'm excited to see, like I said, I want to see how that whole thing goes.
Me too. I'm excited. I'm excited for the NBA season. I'm excited for the Lakers. The Lakers are going to be a team to watch this year, and I think the Dwight signing is interesting. But I do believe that wraps us up for NBA talk.
Are you not excited about FIBA?
Are you excited for FIBA?
To be honest, kind of. Team USA lost last night.
They did lose last night.
They lost to Australia. I think that was the first time that's ever happened. And they just lost Kuz, I think, to an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, FIBA is going to be interesting. I don't think because Team USA does not have the best team it could have whatsoever. It has
very lackluster.
They have really good players. I mean, the Kemba's on there, Don's on there. Like, they don't have like a terrible team. Like, just the fact they have those two guys already makes the team pretty good. But I think, like, for FIBA, I think a lot of international teams have a really good chance of winning, or at least upsetting. Who? I don't know. But Giannis is looking monstrous in FIBA. Obviously, Australia just put up a performance. The GOAT Marco Bellinelli putting in the work. So, as weird as it sounds, I wouldn't say I'm like super excited for it, but I'm definitely interested to see what's gonna come from it, who's gonna look good, maybe some talent that can come into the NBA from who isn't in there now, who will show off during this international tournament. And also, it's just kind of a good thing for the people who are outside the USA who watch and keep up with basketball, and the players who are trying to progress their careers. So I think that's always something exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I get your viewpoint, but I've just never been a big FIBA guy. I never have, and especially this year with a very lackluster Team USA. I'm not saying that there's not good people. I'm just saying they're not compared to years past. They're not very good.
Yeah.
But do you want to move on to boxing stuff?
Yes, sir.
All right. By the time we upload this fight may be over, or you got a couple of hours to watch it. Sergey Kovalev, fighting in his home nation of Russia, taking on Anthony Yarde. Yarde not very. I believe he was the mandatory. Don't quote me on that, but I know that he was offered $1 million to step aside so that the Canelo fight happened. He declined. So now here we go. Yarde not the most experienced guy. Doesn't have a whole lot of experience at the top, but he is taking on the current WBO light heavyweight champ. Who do you got in this one, Angel? I feel like I know your opinion, but I do want to get confirmation. Like, who do you got?
I have Sergey, with good, with good reasoning. Obviously, the man's, whole career speaks for itself. There's, even the losses, make, they're there. He's ran it back. Anytime he's lost, he's always ran it back. Changed the outcome. Didn't happen in one of those cases. but that's just how, it goes sometimes. Still an extremely talented guy. As for Anthony, I mean, there's really nothing to say about him. There's not too much, opponents-wise. I don't think he's fought anybody relevant enough within his division to say he's a threat to Sergey whatsoever. No offense to Travis Reeves, but I don't think Travis Reeves is, the greatest, tutor to follow Sergey or anything like that. Definitely has him, he's ranked, according to BoxRec at 13. The people he has fought are not at the level of Sergey. He hasn't, let's say if he would have fought someone that he's fought recently or someone, kind of in that, kind of span of the top, 20, then I'd probably say it's more of a, he has a chance. It's just that as it stands right now, I think the man has no chance of winning whatsoever. I think Sergey Hayes going to give him a good beating to, I guess just today. I mean, there's nothing he has to offer to Sergey. It's not to say it is impossible for him. Here we had a major upset, but obviously that can't always happen. And I don't think it's going to happen today. I think Sergey is probably going to win this very handily. I imagine. Well, recently there hasn't been in the last 2 years there hasn't been any. Well, I'll give him the finish. I'll say it'll be a finish. How, I'm not sure. If anything, obviously it'll go to decision. But I could see a finish happening here. Anthony, like I said, there's just nothing to offer there. There's nothing special there. He's
nothing to offer.
Yeah, I mean nothing to offer. Nothing to offer to Sergey. You know what I mean? Not necessarily that he doesn't have anything to offer to the sport. Obviously, the sport, he's still young. He's 28. There's plenty of time to grow, learn from a loss. But at this point in time, against Sergey, he has nothing to offer to him. It doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just that right now, as it stands, I don't see him as a threat or offering too much to Sergey.
Yeah, I see your point. I think he's too young into his career. He hasn't really faced much great competition. I believe he's faced nobody with a Wikipedia page. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how his kind of experience is. I know he's he's an undefeated guy. I know he has a lot of punching power, 17 knockout wins, but I don't think it's anything that Sergey Kovalev hasn't dealt with before. I don't think it's anything he hasn't seen. So I'm going to take Kovalev here by decision. I think the kid's really going to be tough. I know he's determined. I would train really hard. He looks like he's in great shape. But I still think Kovalev's going to outwork him and get a decision win.
For sure. Alrighty. And at some point throughout the day, I'm not sure when, we have the young prospect Randy Figueroa fighting today, 22-year-old out of Texas, currently ranked 17th, according to BoxRec. 19-0 as it stands right now, about to fight. Going to have his boxing match against Javier, who is for the Intim World Boxing Association World Super Bantamweight title. So a big fight for him, very important deal to him, especially at 22 years old. Having this opportunity is very important to him. I'm sure he will win this. Javier is someone who is fought a lot of guys within his country who aren't the greatest competition. He's had a couple decent guys who have fought other guys who are a lot better than him and are top ranked. But I imagine because of, obviously I'm guessing this fight was really formed for Brandon, really set up for him. So I imagine Brandon takes this win very easily. Not to say that Javier won't maybe bring certain challenges to him since Brandon's still a very young boxer, shows some weaknesses. But I think if anything, just because of, Javier's maybe background and just having a lot of, fights under his belt, maybe Brandon struggles a little bit, has some struggles throughout the match, but ends up pulling that decision win, if anything.
I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about the man fighting tonight. I don't know a whole lot about him. As you guys know, I'm more the MMA guy. However, my man Angel's dropping some information, dropping the facts. should listen to him instead of me. So I'm just gonna blindly agree with everything he just said.
That's how I feel during the UFC, Josh. So I feel
Exactly.
good. I know.
Normally I have some sort of thing to give. I feel like I know Sergey. I know a bit about Anthony Yard. I know nothing about these guys. So I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. I'm gonna blindly agree with you that he sounds right. He sounds confident. I believe in Angel.
Well, I mean, just to give you a breakdown, one guy's from Argentina, is mainly only fought in his country. He's fought multiple guys who have a record that's pretty close to a losing record. And then Brandon's young 22-year-old kid prospect who's undefeated. It's, he's building his way up. So just kind of that general overview. So yeah.
Well, that's a good overview. And so I'm gonna trust you on this one. I believe in you. I'm gonna pull what you do in our UFC talks, and I'm just gonna agree with you on that one.
If you have faith in me, I'll have faith in you.
I have faith in you, Angel. You really shouldn't have had faith in me last week, but I have faith in you this week.
Either way, I still believe my predictions from last week. I'll tell you that. I thought they were going to go like that, but that's besides the point. That wraps it up for boxing. I don't know if you have. We have some more news. We got one more
news. Floyd loves to honey dick. If you guys are aware of what the term honey dick means, it means to kind of give false hope that occasionally something will happen. Where's the movie that term came from? The Interview. The term honey dick came from The Interview, and that's what Floyd Mayweather's out doing again. He's honey dicking that he will fight again. He's talking about going to Saudi Arabia to try and set up a Manny Pacquiao rematch. I'm not sure why he needs to go to Saudi Arabia to set up the rematch, because the fight will make money wherever it happens. But that's what he's doing. Apparently this weekend, he said he was going to go out to Saudi Arabia and talk with the head princes over there. And to be fair, if that fight happened in Saudi Arabia, Floyd would be a billionaire, not a millionaire. They have so much damn oil money over there. It's ridiculous. And that's the reason why the Ruiz-Joshua fight's happening over there. I don't buy a whole lot of stock in this. This is something that Floyd does. He keeps his name in the headlines. He does very interesting things. To keep his name in the headlines, this is one of those things. I don't think the Pacquiao rematch happens. I also think he comes out of retirement. 50-0 is the perfect place to retire on. It's literally it's an even number. It's perfect. Beat Marciano's record. It's the perfect place to end. He had if he comes out of retirement for this, it's not going to make nearly as much money as the first fight. Well, depending on where they do. If they do in Saudi Arabia, he's going to get paid $1 billion. But the Conor fight, perfect way to end your career. Fun fight, fire fight, in a fight that you pretty much dominated. Big name, 4.2 million buys. He's not going to come out of retirement for this, but I'll be damned if it not be exciting if he did.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. I appreciate your two-word response.
I wanted to keep it simple, man. That's amazing. I mean, it's weird because when that video came out, when that video was usually posted of him talking about that, it wasn't posted on his Instagram. It was posted actually on Manny's Instagram. So that was also that also raised a lot of questions. It's like, how did he get this video? Also, why didn't Floyd post it on his Instagram or any social media platform that he uses? So there's a lot of weird things going on. We don't know specifically who he's talking to. He just said he was going to Saudi Arabia. I think if you watch the video, he doesn't mention. He said, I'm heading over there to see you guys or something like that. It's something very broad. It isn't a specific name, so we don't know who it is. But the thing is, according to that video, he's heading over there, and he's in his main discussion is going to be that. So, I mean, we'll have to see. If it does happen, that'd be amazing. But like you said, we'll probably get honey-dicked by Floyd. In the sport of boxing, we get honey-dicked a lot. I mean, same with MMA. I'd say you get honey-dicked a fair bit. Maybe probably not as much. But, I mean, if it happens, wouldn't that be amazing? It's just that at this point in time, there's not too much to go off on. was it a year or two ago? It was when Floyd and Manny saw each other at the club and they joked about that.
Oh my god, that was like December of last year or something. They were talking about doing it in Japan or some shit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like it hasn't been.
They have fun with this dude. I'm telling you, they're best friends and they hang out and they're messing with us.
So yeah, it's not unlikely. But the thing is, it's like currently that's kind of where this has been. So it's not like it hasn't been talked about recently, even before the video. So there's a good chance it could possibly happen, or maybe I don't know. There's a possibility. We'll have to see after he's done talking to those Saudi princes, as we've said. If it does happen, obviously we'll watch because of the names. It's gonna make money no matter where they do it. It's gonna make money. Maybe not nearly as much as before, but it'll make money. People like watching Floyd. People like Floyd. Well, people don't like watching Floyd, but people like Floyd for the showmanship and because some people consider him the GOAT. And obviously people love Manny, and then Manny's looked really good recently. So that also kind of factors into it too, because Manny, as of now, has looked really good in his last two fights. So that kind of, might play some factor into it. I don't know. I'm not the promoter. If it does happen, like we said, we'll talk about it. We'll give our opinions. We'll give our predictions. We'll talk about it after it happens. But besides that, I mean, there's not too much to say on it.
Yeah, that's all there is kind of to talk about with that. Yeah, I listen, man. Floyd's always such a big star. It's always interesting to see him. I don't think he comes back though. But you know what? Like, never left, and it's one of the greatest stores today. Target. Doesn't matter if buying online, buying in store. It's quality with good prices. Target's one of our sponsors that helps you bring up quality podcasts each and every single week. If you go to the link on Podbean, it can help support us. So if you love us, you love the podcast, go through Target. Target, expect more, pay less. So I believe that is all there is for this week. Closing plugs as always at Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter, at Courtside Soundoff on Instagram, at Josh Evanoff on Twitter, and he's at _1. Episode 25 of the podcast. I thought it was a good one. I hope you guys enjoy. Maybe some news coming about some stuff, some changes to the podcast, but we'll see about that. But all right, well that's all for me. So peace and butt grease. Mouse click.